Hello and welcome to the worst movie ever made, experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind: to find the worst movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Ockman, joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci and Bob Hassick. This time, we're doing a good movie. Aren't we, guys?
Yeah. I kind of liked it. It was pretty good.
It's a good one.
Say.
Yeah.
Good week, good movie.
And we're talking, of course, of episode 5, which is the second installment of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Why don't we hop right into good reviews? Because I only have one. It's a little lengthy.
Okay.
San Francisco Chronicles Peter Stack says, and Bob, this is kind of entirely because of you, the reason I picked this one.
Oh, nice.
The balance between action and mysticism in The Empire Strikes Back provides fascinating energy. It's as if the kids are given one set of delights, the bravado of battles and elaborate warships zooming through exotic space, and adults are given another, a layered explanation of what it means in the grand scheme of things. So it's exactly the problem with the Phantom Menace done correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. When I read that one, I was going to go with Ebert, of course, but I read that one and I was like, hey, you know what? That's kind of cool because it ties very closely to the movie we did last week. And the movie we did last week is the reason we're doing this. We did Phantom Menace. This is Star Wars done right. Rob, what do you have to say about this?
YouTube comments were basically just like praise, but there's a couple notable ones. I think there's a little too much. The Empire Strikes Back is one of the greatest films of all time and the best Star Wars in the saga. The movie is so great that I can't get how there are some people who actually dislike this film. It's called personal preference. It's pretty good. This movie is perfect. My problems with it are so small they can't even be considered problems. The characters are much more developed and are even more memorable than the last time around, which is saying a lot. There are just a couple other installments I like a bit more, but this one is definitely top 4. 9.5 out of 10 for a Star Wars movie. And then once again, one of the greatest movies ever. Didn't truly appreciate it until I had grown up. And I really liked it. My thought on it was, yeah, it's okay. It's good.
Hey, if you get that past Rob, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't make a better one, but I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but like credit where it's due. It's really, really well done. So
hey, I'm thinking since Rob and I have spoken our bits about the sort of intro, why don't we just skip to what's usually test number 2, the Bob pitch, but Bob can read to us what he's got for us this week, which I think might fit a little bit better than after test 1. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The worst movie ever made presents the latest in cutting-edge artificial intelligence technology. The Bob Pitch.
Okay, I took this back to early 2000s AI technology with the summarize a movie in just a few lines. So here we go with the AI's spit out for this time. Character named Luke says, I have to go to Dagobah. Yoda says, you have to use the Force. Luke says, I have to go to Cloud City. Darth Vader says, you have to go to the dark side. Luke says, no, I don't. Darth Vader says, I'm your father. Luke says, no, you're not. Darth Vader says, fine, I'll cut off your hand. The end.
Wow.
I like it.
Accurate.
It's right on the money. They don't cut any corners. They hit a lot of characters.
Yeah,
really not bad. I'd make it
zero fat.
Yeah. So Bob says he'd make that. Rob,
I'd make it. Yeah.
Hell yeah, me too. Not that it matters. Star grade is a 5. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 5 to all the way. And by the way, the budget was only 18 million.
Wow.
No
really?
shit. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's fucking impressive.
That would be a fact that is going to bypass fact or no fact. That is a production budget number.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that used to be part of our sort of God, what did we call it, Rob?
The budget botch watch.
Yeah, the budget botch watch. back in an ancient time, a galaxy far, far away, long ago, where we talked about the difference between the budget and what they thought they got out of it, like value-wise,
and how much we thought it was worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it was a good test.
Yeah, it was awesome, but a little weird. But that's us, right?
Yes.
Speaking of being a little weird, I really enjoyed that. And we definitely did not talk before the pod about using something like that for our upcoming season, right? I mean, we definitely already discussed this. This is off the cuff for sure.
Yeah.
So next
that's how we roll.
We're all going to write our own little version of that for the bot pitch. We'll probably rename it for next season.
Yeah.
And that'll be the replacement for this test. And just so you know, listeners, not to worry, we are going to change things up structurally starting next season. But it's going to be all of the same gags and fun that we normally have. It's just going to be structurally different because I think we can be even more entertaining. And that's why you're here.
Oh, and if you haven't noticed, we have a web presence that is just going to grow and grow and grow. Well, already the Instagram is going to be used more live than it has in the past.
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Currently, there's a quiz on there you can take that asks you who narrated the trailer that was on our last post. So if it's not too late, jump on the internets and take that quiz.
I'm going to go on my personal, which I never do, and I'm going to answer that because I want to know.
I got it right.
I won't spoil it.
I didn't think I would, but I got it right.
Awesome. Yeah. We're hoping to engage you more. This podcast is for you guys. Email us. We're going to shout somebody out for emailing us at the end of the show because that's what we do. If you email us, that's what we're going to do. But for now, we're going to throw it to test number 1, which in this case is our second. The best of its kind.
The best movie ever made presents the best of its kind.
Okay, well, right off the bat, the first thing I saw was The Phantom Menace. So let's do a switcheroo because I think we had Empire Strikes Back last week. So Natalie Portman, because probably I'd say biggest actress out of the whole series.
Her or Liam Neeson, yeah.
Yeah.
You and McGregor.
51% there. 7 with Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt. 82%.
That's a good movie.
Climbing, yeah. It's pretty good. Saving Private Ryan, climbing again with Tom Hanks. This one came in at a 93. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah, not recently, but it holds up.
Did you enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's really, really cool. But there's parts like remember the Matt Damon speech that he gives about like how he chased his brothers around and like the farm.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we needed that, and it was like 25 minutes, and the movie was like 40 minutes too long. We could have just cut the whole section.
Matt Damon. Yeah.
Matt Damon. Interstellar with McConaughey. 73. Yeah, so Falling. And Gladiator, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but Rotten Tomatoes less so, with Russell Crowe, a 78.
Yeah.
So the average, 75.4. Do you guys want to take a guess and tell me what you think Empire got?
I mean, I think last week we said like 94 or something.
Oh, that's right. It was in the 90s, I think.
Yes, it was in 94.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is an 18.6% increase from the average and best of its kind by just a hair, but it is. So I'm going to jot that down, or at least pretend to, as we send it to test number 3, the best dialogue.
The best movie ever made presents the best dialogue.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to see something cool happen at the end of this one. Right into the start of the one after that. You're going to see. You're going to like. But to start here, I had some honorable mentions. Didn't bother to jot them down because fuck you.
Yeah.
This is C-3PO. You remember when R2 is thinking that he can fix the hyperdrive or whatever so they can shoot him in space?
Yes.
And 3PO has not been completely rebuilt. Like R2 was working on him. I don't give C3PO a whole lot of credit, but as we said last week, in the original 3, R2 and C3PO are they serve a purpose. Here, R2 is doing his job, explaining that he can fix the hyperdrive. But 3PO is too concerned with himself, and he says, "I'm standing here in pieces, and you're having delusions of grandeur," which actually made me laugh. Which 3PO doesn't do too much.
I don't like. He's like the Jar Jar Binks of the original trilogy. He's like I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare you? No, that's okay. That's fair.
All right, number 9, Vader. Just a classic line that says the whole like dark side mythos basically in one line. He says, "Release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me." Which is like, you know, the whole scene is badass, and we're gonna get back into it. But I wrote that one down because I was like, yeah, that's kind of the entire thought condensed for the dark side.
It is.
Leia, and maybe I should have written down what Han had said to her, but they are in the ship, and I think they're trying to get it restarted in the mouth of the space worm or whatever.
Yeah.
And she just like kind of snarky comment just says, "Would it help if I got out and pushed?"
Yeah.
Which I was like, all right, that's actually really funny. But it's their interplay. They haven't made out yet. You know, they're still like just gnawing it.
It's human. It's something you didn't see in the Phantom Menace. It's like there's a last podcast in the last episode when they're talking about the bubonic plague. And how it's crazy because like it was like the 14th century and like all the footage in the accounts and like not footage but like all like the drawings and the accounts and like the recollections of the interactions, like it's just people being people. And it's like, if you're in the middle of a space war, you're a space prisoner, you're like, doesn't help if I push it. Like you're just like you're instigating like someone who's on your side because they're kind of rubbing you the wrong way and you want to be a dick. And that's what people do in real life.
It is what people do.
At the same time, what reference is that? Get out and push. That's if you're driving a car. They never had cars. Anyway.
Good point. Go on.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely was for the audience.
They had rovers or something. I don't know.
Get out and shove your hand in that Bantha's ass and get it moving.
That's right.
Moving to our first clip. You, the audience, will remember this one if you're a Star Wars fan at all. And this one is called The Odds.
What are you doing? You're not actually going into an asteroid field.
They'd be crazy to follow us, wouldn't they?
You don't have to do this to impress me.
Sir, the possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Badass.
Nice.
It is badass. Never tell me the odds. It's like, I don't want to know because it's more likely that I'll succeed if I don't know. Not to mention that I think navigating an asteroid field would be a lot easier than that. Because I bet you in the vast expanse of space, asteroids are nowhere near as tightly compacted as it seems. And you know, it's like a huge asteroid just blew up and they have to navigate all the little chunks that are like falling off of the giant piece. But I don't think that's how it actually probably is, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, does it make it any less badass when Han says that? I'm sorry. I just kind of killed the mood, didn't I?
Not at all.
Well.
Speaking of Han, Leia insults him by calling him a laser brain when they're like flirting again in like the hospital wing. And Chewie does his like laugh, you know, where you get that Chewie is like agreeing with her, and then Han says, "Laugh it up, fuzzball." But you didn't see us in the wing or whatever. But I remember as a kid, especially just like really thinking that one was hilarious, and so did my family, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't push it any further because 6 is probably deserving enough. But did you guys find that entertaining, or is it just me?
Oh, as a kid, that was a huge line. My whole family would like crack up every time we heard it.
Yeah.
I hated Chewie as a kid.
Okay.
But I liked him a lot on this watch because like he only has like one inflection at one volume
Yeah.
And I think like, when you watch it when you're like 6 or 7, you're like, yeah, that's stupid. But like when you're like when you get like the subtext when you're a little older,
Right.
or in this case like much older, it was enjoyable. It was
He's
just
always,
it showed their banter, their exchanges. Yeah.
and everything that Chewie does is like this straight man heroic kind of choice making, where he's actually more observant than a lot of the crew half of the time. Like if it weren't for him, C-3PO would just be scrap, right?
Dude, Chewie would have killed it in the ass cheek arena.
Oh my god, I would.
I would. Like crazy.
Him against Ernest would have been fucking epic.
God, yeah.
Ernest full strength though.
Yeah.
All right. Luke has the X-wing in the mud of Dagobah, right? Like in the swampy waters, and this is after Yoda lifts it out, and Luke goes up to him and he's like, "I don't believe it." Yoda says, "That is why you fail," which is what I mean. It's going to get a little Yoda heavy here. I'm going to try not to do too much with the accent because it's probably something to listen to. But yeah,
after last week, people are tuning in just for this impression. I hope you know that.
Wow, flattered am I. But yeah, the line though, "that is why you fail," definitely another quotable. Mm-hmm. Empire offers a lot of quotable lines.
It really is quotable. It's
like,
awesome. Like every scene, there's like something like I forgot which ones I clipped, so I don't want to
Well, why don't we pass into a clip right now? Oh wait, no, we can't because we have to do number 4. But yeah, Han cuts open the Tauntaun, which is like last week we had space camels. This time I guess we have like a tundra camel.
Yeah.
Just like the camel idea of a Tauntaun. And he cuts open the Tauntaun to make like a little animal igloo for Luke to survive in because of the body heat. And as soon as he like slices the thing open, which is kind of graphic, for a kid's movie to watch all the like guts spew out.
Yeah, but it looked like cotton candy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I felt like that, and when the android in Alien has like the alien come out and it's like milky.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. Like for some reason, like in the 80s, they thought milk was gross or something. Because like
I'm writing down animal igloos and Milky Androids, just so you know.
Awesome. But yeah, as soon as he cuts the Tauntaun open, he's like, "Ah, and I thought they smelled bad on the outside." Which,
well done.
Another fucking classic.
Yeah.
What, you want to throw to a clip? I've got 2 for dialogue still coming at you. I can't wait for this one. It's called "Do."
No. We'll never get it out now.
So certain are you? Always with you what cannot be done. Do you not think that I say?
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
I want to see a shirt with the Nike check. And it's like, don't try. Do. ... Or do not. On the back. There is no try.
There is no try. I would not be surprised if they did a little collabo back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because that's too perfect. But yeah, I mean, how do I say this in different words? Another like completely overquoted statement there by Yoda, where like everybody went back to high school and just said that about everything. Like, oh, you think I can make this paper in that basket over there? Dude, there is no try, or like the football coach probably fucking did his with Yoda. Not as good as mine. All over the high school, all over the mall, all over pop culture, everywhere was that line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only number 3.
Yeah.
Because number 2 is Yoda again, this motherfucker. Luke says, "I'm not afraid." And Yoda, of course, says,
You will be. You will be.
like in a super fucking dark and gruff, like, and not backwards language like usual.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
South Park bingo when Mitch Chokes on Dick goes up to the cave on top of the mountain to find Garrison, who was like hiding out for a year, and she's like, "I'm not frightened," and he's like, "You will be. You will. You will."
Still,
Yeah.
another one. Just like I heard this all the time as a kid,
Mhm.
and I grew up in the 90s. But I mean, all this writing, all this amazing writing that we're talking about, I don't think it stacks up to our number 1 clip. And let's throw it after the famous worst movie ever made drum roll, Rob.
I'm gonna make a worse one for next season, but here we go.
I dare you to make it worse than that.
Okay.
So good, number 1.
There is no escape. Don't make me destroy you. Luke, you do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power. Join me, and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
I'll never join you!
If you only knew the power of the dark side. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough! He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
I mean, was that the biggest surprise in movie history?
Yeah, at that point, probably. No, Psycho, Hitchcock, Norman Bates was actually his mom.
Son of a bitch.
No, this was bigger. It had to be bigger.
This was bigger. This was way bigger.
It's-
But
I mean,
that did catch me by surprise. Then.
this was like everyone in the this was like Super Bowl ratings. If you could compare it like box office to like how many people watch the Super Bowl
Yeah.
on Super Bowl Sunday, like every fucking person saw this movie, and nobody but the Dutch apparently knew this was coming because Kevin, our friend of the pod, pointed out to me that Vader means father in Dutch, so they knew the whole time.
That's what happens when you make characters off of like stems from a different language. I guess you're bound to shoot yourself in the foot to some demographic at some point.
Yeah, and to the Dutch and Kevin, I apologize if it wasn't you.
Yeah.
might have been Finland or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to speedily push right into test number 4 for a reason. Like I said, really cool thing we did here this week, and it's never going to happen again. So test number 4, the best acting.
The best movie ever made presents the best acting.
So good, number 2.
It's not true! That's impossible!
Search your feelings. You know it to be true. Luke, you can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. Come with me. It is the only way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. People probably would say that Mark Hamill is overacting there because he just fucking like belts it out. One, I don't know what he sounds like when he's distraught in this manner. Two, he's had an easier time now, like a less difficult, at least time, not turning to the dark side because He just thought of Vader as a completely evil motherfucker. And up to a couple seconds ago, one who cut off his hand. But now he realizes he's going to have to battle with the fact that Darth Vader is his daddy. That is if there was any temptation in him at all, which I don't know why there would be necessarily, it's amplified 10 times over because it's your dad who you've never played catch with. I mean, I can see Luke like trying to catch the ball that, like Vader throws the perfect spiral and Luke lifts his hand and the ball just goes like right over. Right over the wrist. But they're like smiling together. Yeah, I mean, I would be completely overtaken by grief, having just had my hand chopped off by my dad, who's trying to force me to join the evil emperor and oppress every person in the universe. Also, so what do you guys think?
It's one of those things to the credit of Star Wars. I know Harrison Ford was either just about to do Indiana Jones or had already done it. So
yeah.
I'm not sure which one, but either way, he's in the middle or about to have one hell of a run.
Yeah.
But aside from everybody else, there isn't a lot of like super big names in this movie, and that lends itself to a little bit of overacting because, like, who heard of Mark Hamill before?
Like
Star
shooting
Wars?
the shot.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like it's the problem that the new Star Wars didn't have. It's like it's the adventure of a lifetime. Act like you want to be there, and he's definitely acting like he wants to be there. So I think he may be overacting a little bit, but I think it's like he's like, this might be my only chance, so I got to go for it. So I give it credit.
Yeah,
I actually left that out of worst production or best production, excuse me, because that really casting really happened in the first movie. And like Rob said, they cast unknowns, and that was genius.
Better that way,
yeah, so much. And they tried to relive that whole thing with the afterquels, whatever you want to call them, the sequels, the
quels.
The 6th, 7th, and 8th, or 7th, 8th, and 9th movie. And Harrison Ford had not done anything much more than oh my god, I think it was Ron Howard's movie. I can't think of what it's called right now. American Graffiti. That was like one of the only things he had done.
Yeah.
Right, because wasn't he a carpenter who like just decided to walk across the street and try it out? Or
yeah, something like that. And Indiana Jones wasn't until 84, and Return of the Jedi was 83.
Okay.
Or I could be wrong. It could be 82. Either way, it was after this movie came out for sure.
Yeah.
This only came out in 80, and nothing Harrison Ford really happened before 80. But you're right. One is shoot your shot, and the other is, like you said, Chris, it's really, really traumatic. So of course you're going to react.
It would be, and he's hanging from a ledge where, like, like if he decides to battle against his father's just going to fucking kill him, or he has to join the fucking dark side. Option C is to dive off into probably your death in the endless abyss,
And going to acting, think about it. He's a kid. I mean, he really is just a kid. Emotionally, he really is. He was raised by his aunt and uncle in a desert, did nothing but build robots, and he's a kid. So he acted the part, I think, for sure.
I agree. And, I guess we can leave it for a little while later, but there is nothing cooler in this world than the dulcet tones of James Earl Jones.
I have a factoid I'm waiting on because I want Bob to do his test later.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he has it on his test, but it involves James Earl Jones.
Yeah, I think I might know. But number 2, everyone is the best acting. We've kind of already said it, but I wrote it. James Earl Jones, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, even Billy D. Williams do a fucking awesome job here. Just, they're all really good. So I just wanted to give them all credit by name because they want it from me. Except for Carrie.
Yeah.
Long may she reign.
Long may she reign.
All right, next clip. This one's called Shut Up.
Transfer circuits aren't working. It's not my fault.
No light speed.
It's not my fault.
working rear deflector shield. One more direct hit on the back quarter and we're done for.
Turn her around. I said turn her around. I'm gonna put all power in the brig shield.
You're gonna attack them?
Sir, the odds of surviving a direct assault on an Imperial Star Destroyer...
Shut up!
Yeah, the dynamic there is perfectly in tune. Like they have all of the dials set exactly as they should.
Yeah, it's chemistry. It's like natural chemistry. You don't see it in a lot of movies. Like they even if they're inexperienced in their own right, like they know the room that they're in.
And they're in a room with a 9-foot tall fur ball and a robot that knows 9 billion languages, and it's still seamless somehow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, this is the kind of stuff that makes this movie. These little scenes like this, that wasn't one of those scenes that you necessarily log away forever, but it's not notable for being at all out of tune, despite all of the factors going on.
Yeah, it's also a scene that I think a lot of franchises tried replicating. Like in The Mummy, they're like in a wagon, they're running from Emotep, and they're like, "Shut up!" And they all, that's a thing that happens in other movies.
It does happen.
I think it's mimicry, of what we saw in Star Wars, because
yeah. No,
Star Wars may not have been the first, but it's the most well known and very well executed.
Fair. My mind is clouded because for some reason I thought of Team America when the terrorists are driving away and the main puppet is trying to throw the signal. But it's kind of South Park Bingo. But he's so well disguised that they can't tell whether or not he's a terrorist. So he's just flailing his arms and they're about to attack him anyway. That's totally off topic. But you guys want to throw it to the next clip?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is another clip called Another.
Converters.
Luke, don't give in to hate. That leads to the dark side.
Strong is Vader. Mind what you have learned. Save you again.
I will. And I'll return. I promise.
Told you I did. Reckless is he. Now, matters are worse.
That boy is our last hope.
No. There is another.
Okay, so there's the drop. Yoda drops the mic right after that.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking cool sequence. What is Bob? I know you'll know the character Ben Kenobi's actor's name. What is
that's Alec Guinness?
Yeah, Alec Guinness. Thank you. I constantly try to remind myself of that name, but since I know I do not sound like a movie buff here, this is the only thing I really know Alec Guinness from.
Okay.
I constantly forget his name. I should have written it when I gave everybody credit before. I didn't. But yeah, I mean, I think he does a stellar job as well as is that Jim Henson that does the voice of Yoda?
Frank Oz.
Frank Oz. Duh. Yeah.
Jim Henson was offered to do the job, but he decided that Frank Oz was a better voice.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna get into a little bit about that later because I'm curious as to your thoughts about Yoda and their choice making there. But let's save it as we move on to our next clip and the last of Best Acting. And this is a very short one, last clip of the episode actually, and it's called "I Know."
I love you.
I know.
I mean, that's all you need.
It's a
all
total
you need.
banger, dude. You don't give a fuck.
Shad. What a shad.
He really is the first Chad.
Yeah.
There's the Virgin Skywalker and then the Chad Solo.
Rob, throw it to your ad read, man.
Sure. Let me just get that up. Today's episode of The Worst Movie Ever Made is brought to you by the new Denny's $5.99 special, the Jean-Claude Van Slam. Kickbox your way into the nearest Denny's and tell your server, here, and they'll know what you're talking about. The Jean-Claude Van Slam includes 3 pancakes, 2 links of sausage, a tall glass of fresh Need OJ, a bottomless cup of piping hot black belt coffee, and if you want to upgrade to the Jean-Claude Van Graham Deluxe Special, an 8-ball of codeine with a cocaine chaser. Denny's, kickstart your morning. I fucked that up.
No, that was excellent. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
But for the listening audience who are going to cash in on this, can they go in and go,
Yeah, film yourself at Denny's getting kicked out for trying to order the Jean-Claude Van Slam. Yes.
Okay, good to know. Let's go to test number 5, the best production case.
The best production, where did it go? Oh shit, did I not have? I have like my soundboard's all messed up. I'm gonna edit this out. The best production, bear with me 1 second. No. No. Where's the best production?
Bob, do you think you can do That's
right. The best production.
Here we go.
Oh,
here's
you
what
found
we're
it?
gonna do. No, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the show bumpers, and then we're gonna go to
The worst movie ever made presents worst production.
There we go.
Yes. That was perfectly executed. Okay. So this comes in 3 parts. Instead of just focusing on one thing for a bad movie, I focused on 3 things for a good movie. So I'm going to go. I'm going to start with Lucas knowing his limits. So George Lucas suffered mentally and physically after making Star Wars because he directed it. And this time he decided, you know what? I'm going to leave the directing and editing up to others. And speculation has been made that the production would have suffered if he had pushed through this agony. But he decided, no, I'm just going to produce and not suffer. So I think that worked out to his advantage.
I agree.
Second, practical effects were really one of the only methods of special effects available, really, except for really bad digital effects. But it's preferred. The whole experience was made to be more real. I don't know if you've heard. There's a story out there saying that some kids were asked, like when they first saw Empire Strikes Back in like the early 2000s, and they said, "Boy, Yoda really seemed real. It all seemed very real." And so when they made the sequels, the episode 7, 8, and 9, they decided to rely more on practical effects because the digital wasn't working, and I guess the kids were actually credited for saving Star Wars because they said that they made it so much better. But here's the big one. George Lucas decided to fund the filming of this movie entirely on his own. It was $18 million, mostly from Star Wars profits, but partially from bank loans, personal bank loans, which meant he retained all the profits. So no studio was responsible for this. And he shared it generously with his crew. He paid out over, and don't forget, this is 1980s money. He paid out over $5 million in bonuses to his crew.
Wow.
Not the actors, the crew.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, people make fun of George Lucas all the time. I didn't know that. So I'll make fun of him slightly less often.
Yeah.
Oh, if we do Howard the Duck, we'll make fun of him a lot.
Yeah.
Can we see the walk one more time?
Like this. Jar Jar walk. Please tell me you watched that or plan to watch that whole documentary.
I did watch the whole documentary, but I did watch the clip, and it was funny.
Yeah, I only watched the clip as well. It was funny.
All right.
Thank you. I just wanted to see if you were game, and you were.
Yeah, I'm game. No one else. We're not on video yet, so no one else saw this. So we're good.
Well, speaking of which, my now 17-year-old son told me that he would be down for watching this, even though he admitted he would skip through much of it if it was on video rather than podcast, because his generation does more videos than podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we should definitely throw some of our shit up on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're planning on it anyway, so listener,
get
ready to be a viewer.
Yeah.
Let's throw it to test number 6. What's complimentary?
What's complimentary?
Yeah.
I mean, all these things are complimentary, so that's why it's called that. Shut up. Number one, the practical effects CGI. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
It's mostly practical effects, but like I've seen some clips of them doing like small scale models for the like ships and stuff on around it, and it's just like nerds building like spaceships in their basement, basically. It's what it looks like.
I was impressed, and like not to the level I had been since the Mad Max remake. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I saw that in
Fury
theaters. Like I'm a fan of the Mad Max franchise, but I'm not like a diehard. But I was like, let's see Fury Road, and like I just sat there with my jaw on the floor, like holy fucking shit.
It was awesome. Yeah.
And Star Wars, I imagine 79 and 81, 83 would like have that same effect on people.
Yeah. I mean, I just Erin and she was watching the first half of the movie with me, could not get over how good it looked. I know some of the stuff is remastered, but largely it is not.
Even simple stuff like when every time he first of all, this is the only movie they built the entire Millennium Falcon to scale.
Wow.
Just for this movie. This is the only one they showed the entire thing in. But also every time he got a lightsaber like from far away, it was just a reverse film of him throwing it. And as simple as that was, it was very effective.
That's awesome. I didn't know that either.
Oh, Chris, while we're on that subject, just because Bob reminded me of it, something you hate in movies, Chris.
Yeah.
The fast forward animation.
Yeah.
They do quite a bit in this movie, but they do a good job.
Yes.
When the stormtroopers are running down the hallway, it's like 1.5 speed. I'm not even joking.
Freaky out too, because there's no way the guy in that suit is running that fast. Also, they have one of those force like dashes where Luke jumps out of the cryogenic chamber, and he does it at like 2 times speed for sure.
Yeah, like Ernest.
And it was reminiscent for me of the Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon just like flash off the screen, and I bitched about it. So yeah, you're right. Good point. Number 2, Vader is both vulnerable and invincible. I think this is one of the coolest things about Star Wars. When you get a sense for what's under the helmet, because he's in his like healing tank that closes on him. You see it. There's a scene where his helmet is coming back down, and you can see his head, and it looks like a cracked egg. And you're like, "Holy shit, this dude's like really messed up."
Yeah.
I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, we know exactly what happened to him, but he is super fragile under all the suit and everything physically, but he is the most menacing and terrifying force wielder other than Yoda.
Yeah.
I just think the dichotomy is awesome.
Yeah.
Ages very well. And Rob, this is where I thought you were about to go. Believable space jargon.
Yes.
This for me ages like wine, because they do say, okay, get out and push as if it's a car, but like the relating it to us by using words that you might use, like a mechanic might use to another mechanic, but that you've heard in the past. Just elevated with prefixes and stuff like that to make it sound more techie. Just sounds better than making stuff up.
Like the piston thrusters in hyperdrive. Like we could all conceptualize what that might mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay. This one was huge for me and for Aaron. And I'll explain what Aaron said afterwards, which I think is awesome. Rogue 2 and Rogue 3. I don't know why 2 guys in one cockpit together on that frozen planet are 2 and 3 instead of like 3 and 4, but you get my meaning. They actually take down an AT-AT with a tow cable, and they're nobodies to the story.
Yeah.
And it is so cool because nowadays you do not see this, where it lends credibility to the realism of the story, and it's a space odyssey. But Rogue 2 and Rogue 3 actually carry out a successful tow cable takedown of one of the 3 gigantic machines attacking the rebel base. And that's just cool that they gave credit to these characters and these actors got to like revel in that. But Aaron said if it happened today, they would be dead immediately. And it's true. If a secondary character does something so heroic, it's because they're about to be sacrificed, which is not the case here. It just made it more realistic, and it was a cool little movie moment where Rogue 2 and Rogue 3 got to take down an AT-AT.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet now.
That's cool. I think that's cool.
It's cool. And it's so funny to me that people call them AT-ATs when in the movie they call them AT-ATs.
I think because... Well, I don't know why. Let's throw it to our first anti-trope. Going into an asteroid field, as we mentioned before, is that like crazy thing that nobody does, but like everybody does it now. Wait, you're gonna go into there, you're gonna drive right into there, you're gonna, that happens. That shit happens all the time. Here's another one: being in the space worm's mouth and not knowing it. I mean, they do this again in the prequels repeatedly. Yeah. Where we were inside an animal, we didn't even know that. And one more anti-trope: the Falcon being attached to the Star Destroyer. They didn't know where he went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's another trope that, as far as I know, they started. It's super clever, super cool. But all very complimentary. I have a few more here, and then of course anything that you guys want to mention. But Leia working on the ship, like actually doing mechanical work on the ship, is cool and progressive.
Yeah.
I love the Dagobah and Cloud City set designs. There's more than those, but like their future tech, their future scenes still look futuristic, and it's 2022.
Yeah.
Genuinely
41 years now, right?
What's that?
It's like 41 years now, or 42 years now.
Yeah, 40 some odd years. Crazy. Still looks good to me. I still think that the Lando trap that he set with Darth Vader is genuinely surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean that was fucking awesome. It's not cool for the characters. That's bad, but like you did not expect Darth Vader to be standing there.
Yeah, and you go in like knowing Lando's kind of a slime ball, but like it's like petty theft slime ball. It's not like coordinating with like the darkest Sith Lord to capture like a very high stakes rebel. It's it's like you think, oh, what happened? Like you guys had a rift in the past. Like, oh, yeah, he stole the Falcon from me and I stole it back. Like you'd think like it was like petty theft, like larceny and shit. But like no, like this guy's doing some high order stuff we didn't know about.
I mean, they very cleverly like worked in the Han is expecting a warm welcome, but it takes a while, and there's no like warm greeting. And then Lando says that the Empire arrived just before you did. So I had no choice. And, it makes him a greaseball, but also like an understandable one because like
self-preservation. Yeah,
exactly. You don't want all your people to die either. The torture device looks pretty torturous.
The one for Han?
Yeah. The thing he's getting lowered into, and it looks like a giant motherboard, but it's like sparking.
Yeah,
it looks terrifying.
Yeah. And then the timing of the severed hand, like when Luke's hand gets chopped off, was also like as surprising as that Lando trap. You just don't see something that severe coming. Severe sever. Didn't mean to do that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, even in 1970s really showed a lot more graphic violence on film, but you wouldn't expect that in a sci-fi movie, or should I say, in a mainstream movie, you wouldn't expect it as much.
Yeah. They have the benefit of it being a lightsaber, so it like cauterizes the wound immediately. So like his hand's just gone, but there's no blood and guts, like no gore that happens also. So it doesn't amplify the effect, but it's still something that a child's going to have to imagine real quick, like because they've never thought about not having the right hand, and now they're going to have to deal with a like really dark imagery of like, what if I didn't have that all of a sudden? That's horrible. That's kind of a lot for a kid to deal with, but it makes for a fun viewing experience for an adult who wants severity in an epic story. More of that to come, just not in what's complimentary. You guys have anything else you want to add before I move on?
I do. I think it's just the immediacy of it because like I saw that like I look at the timestamp before we do any movie, good or bad, for the show, and I'm like, oh fuck, 2 hours, and like it's like I like short form stuff like in my day to day life compared to like longer pieces, and so I had this weird epiphany. I was on Spotify and System of a Down's first album, like with the hand on the cover, came up on the algorithm. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm going on a run. I'll give it a listen. And they do something that they're not the first to do it. It's been around in music forever, where how some bands, they play the whole chord progression like 4 times and then the verse comes in and they play that like 8 times. And then System of a Down, they establish the riff in one pass, boom, next section. They go to the chorus, 2 phrases, boom, back to the verse. Like they have the same elements of a great song, but they cut out all the extra buildup and trim all the fat. So it's like, you're just listening, you're like, why is this so fucking hyped up? And you're like, oh shit, the verse is only 2 passes instead of 4. There's a breakdown on the first track. It goes da da dun 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 dun, just the bass. And you're like, he's gonna do that 4 times. And like the whole band comes in and he's just like, raw. And I'm like, okay. I relate that to Star Wars, the early, the first 3, Empire especially, where it's like, they set a scene, they establish it, and they hit the ground running, and they immediately take you where it needs to go. There's no bullshit, there's no build up. It's just like, here we go. And here, and like in good pop songs and good metal songs, anything, they just establish the rip and they go.
This, for me, the term that immediately comes to mind with this concept is replay value.
Yeah.
It's surprising for a movie with 2 hours and 12 minutes to have this much replay value.
Yeah.
But it really does move super fast.
It just rips, dude. Like it goes right out the gate.
Yeah.
No, the build-up is in the scene. The build-up is in the previous scene. The build-up is there. It's just weaved in so brilliantly. But Chris, you mentioned anti-tropes. I would have to say villain related to protagonist would have to be an anti-trope.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you think this is kind of where it gets its strong footing is in the
I mean, there's been movies like Chinatown. If you watch that, like, there's definitely some things you learn about like people who are related to other people, like as a surprise ending. But ultimately, something like this, where the main antagonist is related to the protagonist in a surprise manner, I had not seen it before this movie.
It is really cool. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's helped by the fact that the framework is so out of this world, not to make a pun, but like it is unfamiliar territory. And like, you don't think that Darth Vader can possibly, because it just seems like such a spread universe, that local kind of relationships like that wouldn't exist between any of the characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's man, just that flavor. It's like mignon. But I digress. Anything else, or we'll throw it to the kettle?
I'm good.
Move on.
Let's.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Okay, Rob, you kind of mentioned this. Starting at episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was intriguing, right? Like,
I remember seeing it as a kid, and like my first time I saw Star Wars, like 94, 95. My dad worked with somebody who got like the remasters on VHS and made us copies.
Yeah.
And I remember asking my dad, like, is there a 1, 2, and 3? Because like the first one is a 4. And like, and we were like, he was just like, oh.
It's cool though.
Yeah. It's good foreshadowing.
Yeah. Like just saying like we're in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
It is just saying that this is the 4th episode with no 1, 2, and 3 means that there's a whole universe already built that we're just being thrust into the middle of.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily true, but it kind of gives it some backing, some backbone and support already.
Yeah.
Just by calling it episode number 4.
Yeah.
The opening theme, I actually almost thought about clipping it, but everybody knows what it sounds like. You can hear it in your head right now. Yeah. It's fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make fun of this movie a little bit because I have to. I always do in the catch-all. the Yeti. It's kind of funny looking. And it's also shades of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the like animated
that
like
and like
1940s.
yeah, and I know it wasn't out yet, but it's very the Jim Carrey Grinch is very reminiscent of the Yeti from
Yeah. It's true. Just like covered in yak hair.
Yeah,
Exactly.
If I remember correctly. Amazing build-up romance for Han and Leia. We've hinted at this, just putting it in writing. Just so you know, we didn't miss it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And to tie the bow on it, when Han says, I know, he's saying, I love you too, but it in the most tool bag way possible that is perfect for his character. And I heard it was improv.
I've heard the same.
I could see that. Like they've done it like 15 times. They've been on the set for 12 hours, and she's like, "I love it." He's like, "I know." Like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I know. It's perfect. But who knew his character better than Harrison Ford?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it is believable that it's improv. Speaking of Harrison Ford, right in the beginning, Han Solo is being bothered by C-3PO when he's talking about how he shouldn't go out to save Luke in the snowstorm.
Yeah.
And you can actually physically see Han cover C-3PO's mouth. I didn't know that was like the only speaker, but Han like covers his mouth as he's talking to like the captain or whatever. And I just thought that was a really cool little detail.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe that was improv too. The cave where the laughable Yeti is a great way to show Luke's improvement. Because he can now like call upon the lightsaber that apparently he threw into the snow and they just revert. But he understands that like concentrating is a way to get things because later on he has to do a lot of that. So it gives you some background for that. And then of course the montage, but here's another big problem for me.
All right.
You guys ready for this?
Yes.
Sure.
Obi-Wan appears to Luke in a hologram and says, you'll be trained by Master Yoda, who trained me. According to the prequels, when did that happen?
After Qui-Gon dies? I have no idea.
Because he's ready to face the trials and then immediately takes on Anakin as his Padawan.
Right.
They seem to fuck that part up a lot.
Yeah, but the prequels could have gotten that right by making Yoda for a while.
The prequels got it wrong. They didn't.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they had 18 years to retcon that shit, and they couldn't figure it out.
No, they refused to, which is just another knock on the Phantom Menace. But it is canon that Obi-Wan both was trained and not trained by Qui-Gon, by Yoda. Yeah. So that bothers me. The score is amazing, obviously. I mean, the opening theme is part of that, but the entire score is just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Here's another questionable moment. I mean, I know how powerful Vader is, but he has, how, speaking of holograms, there's like two captains for the Empire speaking to him through like a holographic screen.
Yeah. And
he chokes somebody through that. Like, does he have to like echolocate that person like 7 rooms away before he can, or can he actually somehow just envision his body presence through the hologram and choke him that way? I mean, I know, but there's few moments where they're using the Force not direct, like almost string theory, like thing to thing. You know,
maybe it's like when
quantum physics he's using.
Maybe it's like in a cartoon when you're in an argument with someone on the phone and they punch you through the phone, even though they're in like a different town.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I've got a fun one for you guys.
Right.
I mean to ask, had either of you ever played a gym game called Bombardment?
There's bombardment and pin bombardment. Like, so one's like dodgeball and one you knock down bowling pins, right?
Yeah, but they're both so the bombardment is a kind of a knockoff of dodgeball. where
Right.
there are pins and you have a team who have to protect the pins as like the other person throwing the ball. It's not if you get hit, it doesn't really matter. It's like who can protect all 10 of their pins or whatever. Like
Yeah, there's variations of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to call back for you guys and the listener because Aaron was like, Bombardment, wasn't that a gym game? And I was like, I have no idea. And then she explained it to me, and I was like, holy shit. Like, that's awesome. Maybe the listener will want to remember that.
Not as infamous as pickleball. You remember that shit?
I do. Yeah,
you have an exercise ball, and you're playing volleyball, basically, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that. I remember the name more than I do the game.
Yeah.
But how can you forget pickleball?
How can you forget pickleball?
Okay, are at-ats cool?
Yes.
Nerds, I've properly adjusted my star speak.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, totally cool.
Yeah, I think they are too, I guess. But the general in the at is also from Last Crusade.
Oh, really?
With Harrison Ford. Yeah, he's so you know the guy who is paying the Germans, who are like the Nazis, of course, to find the cup of everlasting life in the Crescent Moon Valley. Yeah, like he's the one who had Indiana Jones at his like cocktail party in the beginning of the movie and showed him like the etching of the first half of the tablet that Harrison finds the second half for. It's the same general in the at. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Interesting.
Do you think it would be possible to use that tow cable that Rogue 2 and 3 used to bring down the at? Or do you feel like the mechanics of the legs are too strong for that?
That thing's fucking top heavy. So
it's true.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up for the catch-all. I was like, what an impractical offensive piece of machinery.
This is why I asked whether or not we thought they were cool. Because like they look cool, but
they look great. But
strategically, what's the advantage?
Can you just send down a ship and just fucking nuke everybody?
Yeah, or just instead of spending money on that, just do TIE fighters. Just do 1,000 TIE fighters all with like nukes.
Yeah, because that's like a monolithic amount of engineering for all the different hydraulics and the legs, and they go at a snail's pace, and like two fighter ships with a cable could tip it because it's top heavy.
I can feel the audience getting upset.
Not necessarily. You have to also take into account it's a snowy planet, much like a desert planet. Flying is not going to be as easy with no visibility.
He has a point.
I think the rebels almost take a risk in sending out their flying machines after the walkers.
Damn you and your science. Yeah, that's
touche. Nice volley.
That's fail safe right there.
C-3PO I said already because of the fast forward motion, but he just runs too fast. It's just not.
Yeah.
And
he's a douche.
He's a douche. Yeah.
You know who he is? And like, we've all ran into this person. You know the person that in your life, and I'm not talking about anybody specific. It's like an archetype. You say something that's anecdotal that you know to be true because you experienced it.
Yeah.
And they tell you you're wrong because the statistics say that's not
right.
That's who he is. We all
no, that never happens because only 8% of people actually only ever.
No, because Firestone has a 99% retention rate with their customers. Like, then how they fuck my car up? It happened to me. You know?
What's the character Sheldon from those that show?
Big Bang Theory.
Oh. Yeah, totally. He had to be modeled after that character.
Yeah. But like, I find that a grating personality where it's like you can't appeal to anything. Like he's like, I know, I don't want to know what the odds are. I know it's dangerous, but I know we can get through it if I focus. And you're keeping me from fucking focusing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right. That's really funny that you say that. I have something along the lines.
Never tell me the odds.
Yeah,
exactly. Dagobah grossed me out as a kid. Like I was actually physically like kind of ill when they were.
It's like the show Dinosaurs in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
Steamy. Everything's wet and steamy.
Okay, so I promised we would discuss this. Do you think it was a good call going to Jim Henson?
Oh, you mean Frank? Oh, you mean Frank Oz?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's the same wheelhouse, isn't it? Jim Henson's like creation though, like this whole
Like the
Right,
Ewok,
the-
you mean?
genre of puppetry.
The Muppets were Jim Henson, and Frank Oz was his like go-to voice. He did Fozzie Bear, he did Miss Piggy, he did all the big voices.
So did Henson make the Yoda puppet, or was this Star Wars production and they just had Frank Oz voice him?
I read this somewhere. I want to say Yoda was designed not by Jim Henson Studio,
Okay.
just voiced by them, and maybe puppeted by them. But I know they didn't create it.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So I digress then. Here's another major problem. If Anakin, according to Yoda, was too old at 10, then what the fuck's going on with Luke and how he's like 20-something?
Just to make good on this, I mean, you don't know what happened at the time. We didn't know what happened between episode 3 and episode 4.
Yeah,
maybe they went a little more lax on the rules because like they need bodies, you know.
we don't have any trainees at this point. Yeah.
That's true. Didn't they all get wiped out?
Pretty much.
Like, okay, so I worked for Amazon briefly for about a year, like during COVID, and absolutely no one's allowed to smoke weed. And then like they couldn't get any new drivers, and they're like, all right, you can smoke weed. That's how they got drivers. Like, it's like they have to like expand the talent pool to actually get people that want to work there.
Yeah, and to your point, Bob, like all of the kids that were too young were taken out by the one who Yoda did say was too old to train.
Right.
So they didn't have any young stock, but Yoda remains correct in saying that he was too young to like totally take on the Jedi mindset.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just still two minutes here. Boa constrictors and monitor lizards.
Yeah.
Kind of lame. They were both on Dagobah.
I don't like lizards at all.
I'm just like, why don't we get
human? They creep me out.
All right. Well, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it goes with that Dagobah's gross theme, but also like their earthly, evolutions.
Yeah,
the way to say it. But they shouldn't have evolved this way exactly on Dagobah. I don't think. Unless they're making a statement about the way that life is just if life exists on a planet that's very narrow, framework.
Yeah,
and they always become monitor lizards, and they always become boa constrictors. But again, I digress. What did you guys think about the Hamill head in a helmet scene?
Oh, I did not understand that as a kid. As a kid, I did not get that at all. As an adult, I thought foreshadowing, and but because I already knew the ending, it was like giving something away. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
It is definitely foreshadowing, and I think it's supposed to be like, hey, Luke, you already know that Vader's your father.
Yeah.
Because you can see yourself in his helmet. But yeah, as a kid, I did not understand it at all either.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whose face that was as a kid, to be honest. It was so quick, and I didn't know Luke's face that well. I'm like, who's that?
Doesn't help that Mark Hamill went through a major car accident between episode 4 and episode 5, and his face is totally different also.
Well, he did, right?
I gotta watch number 4 and see that now. Now they bring it up.
So get this: the Yeti scene was actually put in just to explain the scars on his face that he actually didn't end up having, because after the surgery he didn't have any scars. But they put that scene in just to account for the scars.
Yeah, he Rob, he drove off the road. I think he was under the influence, but he took an exit ramp way too fast and just drove off the road, and then almost died. And then they had to reconstruct his face.
Same thing happened to Gary Busey, but less successfully.
Yes.
Yeah, because his brain probably got jostled around a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
R2 should shut the fuck up while Luke is trying to concentrate.
Yeah.
Seriously, Luke is about to lift the third rock, and R2's like... right next to his head. It's like, dude, Yoda's going to be super impressed if you just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I like how Yoda lifts the X-wing out, showing the true power of the Force, and just giving him a little like, hey, if you stick with the light side, the bright side, whatever we call it, the not dark side, we can do this kind of shit. So here's a little like, this is the kind like you're gonna like, you know how the company is like, here's a jacket and a water thermos because we have the money to support you here. That's kind of what Yoda's doing. Yeah.
Let me tell you about a long-haired rebel who didn't follow any of the rules. His name was Jesus Christ.
And he was crucified. The C-3PO kidnapping scene was also damaging for me as a kid.
Yeah.
I said before, but thank God for Chewie, but he gets like fucking blown into 12 pieces.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I know he's a robot, so as an adult, it doesn't matter as much. But as a kid, I was like, he's a human in my mind, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a couple what ifs that I thought were funny. You tell me. Maybe they're not funny. What if Yoda was just playing a track of Obi-Wan talking in his hut over a speaker, but it was just really Yoda talking in an Obi-Wan filter?
Like Wizard of Oz, like he's behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's not even really Yoda, but he convinces him. And Jango Fett gives Jabba an empty Han cast. How would Jabba know whether Han's actually in there if they just took an impression of it? That'd be a really badass way to like make a lot of money, and then Han could just like essentially fake his death because Jabba just wants him encapsulated forever in that cement or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just thought that would be cool too. In the cryogenic chamber, speaking of which, the tonal contrast of orange of the cryogenic freezer to the blue background is simple color theory, I grant you, but it's super successful. It is like so fucking cool looking that I took a screenshot. I didn't send it to you guys, but I will. It just like watch it again when they're about to freeze on. Everything is steamy and orange and black, but the background is blue and bright and beautiful, and they're complementary colors is why I said color theory is simple, but it works so well. It would make for an awesome tattoo, maybe.
Tatooine, perhaps.
But only for chicks. Yeah. Hearing Vader when you can't see him is awesome. It's kind of like Jaws or the T-Rex in Jurassic Park.
It's menacing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, he's somewhere in the room, but he's like kind of playing hide and seek.
Gives the same effect of Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, making fun of the movie again. Luke swinging at the flying objects that Darth Vader is sending at him with the Force was fucking funny.
Yeah.
Whoa, no. He just kind of looked like a bitch. But the prosthetic hand, pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that was really good.
The galaxy shot, also cool when they're looking out the window together, and that's the like you would think that would be like the title picture for the movie with R2 and C-3PO.
You're talking about the very closing establishing shot, like before the credits.
With the full galaxy out the window, looks awesome. And then just my last bit before I send it to you guys for anything else you want to add, but freezing Han feels like a loss, but it's not, and it's amazing suspense for the third movie.
Yeah,
like I feel like in any epic you need some loss, and the loss of Luke's hand was one of those things that had the severity that felt kind of crazy. Like the Empire does have some cojones and some weight to it because they successfully kind of messed up our heroes in this movie. It was a strike back where all of this horrible stuff happened, and it's kind of a down. But like it's such a well formed downward that you feel optimistic and ready for the third movie. I just felt like it was an amazing send off having Han being sent to Jabba the Hutt, and what's going to happen now?
Yeah,
I did misremember it, and I don't know if it pisses me off or not, but I vaguely recalled the prosthetic hand being at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. And
Okay.
I thought that would have been better. Like, just thinking about it, because I was like, oh, because like he's impaired, and we're gonna end the movie, and that was me smacking my microphone. And it doesn't really take away from it, but I thought it would have been like previously. Like
Yeah,
this
no,
time on.
I honestly thought you were trying to demonstrate Luke losing his hand as you smacked the microphone off the stand. There.
That's gonna pop so fucking loud.
Anything else to add, guys?
I'm good.
Yeah, good.
Okay, let's throw it to fact or no fact.
Oh, right.
The worst movie ever made presents Fact or No Fact.
Okay, good movie rules come in for Empire State of Mind. The five pieces of information, where 4 of which are legitimate facts because it was a good movie and there are cool facts, and I've already revealed some of them, but not from the ones I'm about to tell you.
Nice.
One of the things I'm about to tell you is false or a lie or something I made up or fiction. You decide what it is. So, first one of the list. Carrie Fisher, we all know her as Princess Leia, had to stand on a box for most of her scenes with Harrison Ford due to the major height difference. That's the first one. Second of which, when Mark Hamill was having difficulty filming scenes with Yoda, Frank Oz would bring in his Miss Piggy Muppet to make him laugh. Okay. The third one, Rob's typing. Third one. Part of the reason Han Solo was frozen in carbonite was he was the only main character to have not signed a 3-picture deal, and they weren't sure if he was coming back or not. Okay. Fourth one, Alec Guinness, who we know who that is now, Chris, right?
Yes, we do.
that Obi-Wan. He filmed all of his scenes in less than 5 straight hours and paid millions of dollars. And lastly, the actor playing Darth Vader could not see very well, and he tripped and fell several times during the filming. So we have short Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Miss Piggy. Han Solo was frozen because he did not sign a 3-picture deal. Alec Guinness was filmed everything in 5 straight hours, or Darth Vader tripped and fell a lot.
I'm just gonna go with my gut. I'm not gonna give you all the other 4 reasons, but I think the 3-picture deal, one, not signing it, is bullshit because it's such a massive operation and such a massive production that I'm assuming the first one was already massively successful. I'd say that like they had to have like an exclusive deal of sorts. So I think the lie is Harrison Ford didn't have a 3-picture deal.
I think the lie is that Alec Guinness was paid millions. I'm sure that he only did 5 hours, but we were just talking about the $5 million in dividends that were split up for the entire crew, and how much money that is in 80s money. And Alec Guinness is not used to millions, probably because he's an older generation actor. So I'm going to go with that one.
Okay, so we're locked in. All right. So first of all, this caught me as a surprise. Carrie Fisher, 5'1".
Wow, is she really that small?
I know. My daughter's 5'3", and I consider her extremely tiny.
Mm-hmm. Stacey's 5'2".
Yeah, Aaron's 5'3".
And they're fully grown, exactly. Miss Piggy was brought out to make Mark Hamill laugh. I thought that was an awesome fact. I thought that was hilarious.
Really cool. Yeah.
So one of you, actually both of you are wrong, because I made up the fact that Darth Vader tripped and fell a lot because he couldn't see very well. I made that totally up.
Yeah, that was totally believable.
You're right, Chris. Alec Guinness did film everything in 5 hours, but he was not part of the budget. He took a percentage deal.
Oh.
So because he took a percentage deal, he was paid millions of dollars. Yes.
That is some Bob Foolery.
No, that was a fact.
Yes, I know, but the percentage deal is not $1 million. That's Bob Foolery.
Bob Foolery. I like that. Add that in, please, Rob. Write it down.
Bob Foolery.
Okay. And no, Han Solo, that was a majorly like known thing, as he wasn't he actually asked for his character to be killed at the end of the movie. He did not want to come back and do any more. He was
I actually had heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably already successful, like getting signed for all kind of movies, and was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need any more of this. But yeah, they weren't sure if he was coming back, and then George Lucas convinced him, no, your character has more heroism to do.
Well, thank goodness I did it.
Yeah, and that was a good game.
Yeah. I am curious about the percentage thing because I read somewhere, I want to say this earlier, but I didn't know if it was going to be part of your test, Bob. James Earl Jones said he only got $7,000 for voicing Darth Vader because he took the flat for the job, like session player or, by the independent contractor rate. And, I thought about that with music because like I always charge people per song or per job because like I'm not going to make shit on Spotify. And I heard Star Wars, like, even though it was so successful, they had so many, they had like so much finances involved that like the voice actors and the smaller, like it's an iconic voice, yes, but like he could have gone into a vocal booth in one day and just knocked that shit out.
Yeah, he probably did.
He said back then he was glad he took the $7,000 because I think he just now started getting residuals like in 2018 or 2017 or something like that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I could be mistaken though, but that's what I remember hearing either him saying or someone close to him saying.
So there could have been an alternate ending for James Earl.
Oh, yeah. Let's
speak of which.
Or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that. Just pick one.
Luke has retrograde amnesia and forgets the fact that he is actually Darth Vader's father. Vader wanted to save a couple bucks while transporting Han Solo, so we had him frozen in aluminum. This entire installment fades out as Darth Vader listens to swans alone in his study.
It's kind of beautiful.
That's all we got.
Yeah, it's kind of how the universe is ending. Is going to end up in the heat death, you know, to spread out. That's kind of what that ending feels like, is the slow heat death of the universe.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. I'm going to go cry, but not before bad credit names.
All right.
George Boner.
George Boner, huh?
George Boner.
Let's start slow. Guess Webb.
Okay.
That's just a weird one. Another weird one. Reg Beam. Bunny Alsup.
Huh.
Digby Milner.
Mm-hmm.
Two more. Fred Hole. And basically the namesake of bad credit names, but John Dix.
Nice.
Dicks.
Fred Hole wins the day.
Yeah, Fred Hole.
I do like Fred Hole. I thought about changing those out, but we're juvenile, so
yeah.
Just a reminder: Phantom Menace was the worst movie of the season. Here we are doing just to reflect a far superior Star Wars movie as we directly compared some aspects of each. Please email us because if you do, you'll get a shout out like the one we're about to do. Rob, do you have that email present?
I can pull it up right now. Am I reading it?
Yeah, just read the email.
Sure. Let me just get up the Gmail tab. Oh, Wells Fargo's updating their Zelle transfer protocol. That's good to know.
Okay, hold on. Rob,
yes.
Just read my screen.
I got it. I just pulled it up.
Wait, hold on.
All right. Oh, you're writing something down.
Yeah.
What's up? Oh, you got it. Okay. Hey guys, Morbius, Heaven's Gate, Superman 4, Batman from 1966, Friday the 13th, Part 6 or 10, Aliens 4, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and here's a parenthetical. I know you don't do obscure ones, but I think most people have heard of this. Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Halloween 2, Zardoz, Godfather 3, Star Trek the movie, Shoot 'em Up, Clash of the Titans, Beastmaster, Turk 182, and Escape from LA. Hope this helps. And I replied, this is a solid list. Aside from 1966 Batman, Adam West Batman is the Adam Best Batman. Thank you, kind stranger.
Yes, thank you, Grace Tibbs, for that. And again, if you email us, we promise we'll read them live on air, as long as they're concise. And that was concise. That was I want to say short list, but not exactly short list. So good on you for really delving for us. But we will. Yeah, I mean, we're about to start a new season, so we're going to look into those. And I know that I will, just for you, I will pick one of those as one of my personal choices. And maybe two. I don't know. No promises.
Old Batmans are great. The Adam West Batman.
Ow.
It is go-go dance after they fucking killed him.
All I remember is anti-shark spray.
He had shark repellent, and they all got turned to sand, colored sand.
Oh my god, so funny. Well, this was our good movie episode. We do not yet know what we're going to watch next week, which is exciting because we're going to post a poll tomorrow with our choices, and you will decide for us. So when you hear this, go immediately to Instagram, go to TikTok, just those two. How's that? Yeah. And decide for us what we'll watch next week. We don't even... I don't think we have all three choices yet. I know my co-hosts have already chosen, but I'm not going to tease it. Okay. I'm just going to let them see tomorrow. So check it out. Vote. Tell us what we're watching next week. And then we'll post about what you need to see and where you need to see it. Thank you so much. Bob, go ahead. Say something.
Keep an eye on the Instagram, everybody, because the live footage, when we go live, we want to interact with you. Like, jump on, comment, make some noise. This is how we are reaching you. Our live Instagrams. Look for me. I'll be probably going live when I watch our next bad movie.
Cool. That's a smart plan.
And that's the thing to piggyback off of Bob before we head out. We think we're all gonna hop on Instagram live throughout the week. Like I might just do it when I'm just watching like some bullshit on TV and just to interact, talk some shit. Get some movie recommendations from you guys. So and Chris, you're probably doing the same too, right?
Yeah, you cut out because my sous chef Craig just called me, and I had to hang up on him. But Chef Craig, I'm calling you back in just a second. And yeah, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to hop onto the live. I think is what we were saying. Yeah, I'm totally going to do it.
You're just going to see like my legs crossing like a pile of empty Diet Coke cans, and we're going to watch some movies together and talk about it.
You will get to know us better or worse.
Yeah, all right, guys. Sure. Thanks for listening. TheWorstMovieEverMade.com.